this episode, we build a sheep shed to keep them warm and dry. But will they like it? Alright, so we've managed to recycle some of this metal. This is stuff we've picked up from somewhere. And it's basically old crating that had motorbikes in, wasn't it?
Yeah, motorbikes were new motorbikes that are delivered in a metal. Most of them are delivered in a metal crate.
Yeah.
And they just get scrapped. So I picked up a few, and it's not particularly good quality, but we're going to try and use it to make a small shelter for the sheep. How long it will last, I don't know, but we've got the metal, we might as well try and recycle it and use it. The trouble is it's so thin gauge, my welding skills don't really lend themselves to this sort of welding, but we'll see how we go.
But it's really lightweight, so we're hoping that we can move the shelter around as we need to move the sheep. So we've put some of the sides together.
Not the best welds, I have to say, not particularly proud of them.
Oh,
Right.
They're not that bad.
Can you help me turn this so that that's back on the floor?
Right.
So because I'm making this out of scrap, I'm doing whatever I can to use the metal I've got. So I'm going to cut these cross braces off here and do the same similar X on the back of there, which should hopefully strengthen this back wall up. I've also got to put some cross braces in at the front, and possibly going back this way just to give it a bit more strength. We don't want to build too much weight into it because we want to be able to push it around on wheels. So, and it's going to have corrugated steel on the roof and on the side. So I'm really just making up a little. I know what I want to do, but I don't exactly know what I'm going to use because I'm just trying to work out what metal I've got and what's going to work.
We're making it up as we go along, aren't
Yeah,
we?
a little bit. This probably do. I've got a couple of more of those panels with the cross brace. Maybe a cross brace in here, just to see how strong it is. I don't know how strong they are. Unfortunately, I don't have a good working drill, which sounds ridiculous, but I'm on my second DeWalt electric screwdriver drill. Same fault as the first one, where it won't come off hammer, it only hammers. It's just outside warranty. The last time it was in warranty, they repaired it. When I got it back, it was not even screwed together properly. So Bunnings were really good and they swapped it. With a little bit of encouragement, they swapped it for a new one. Now that new one is broken and it's out of warranty. So that's frustrating. I don't really want to buy another DeWalt one because clearly I don't think I particularly am hard on tools, but because we're only hobbyists. But we've got a whole load of other DeWalt battery stuff, which the battery technology, so don't know. I've cheaped out. I've got an old AEG drill, which there's nothing wrong with it, but the batteries were done. They're quite old. And annoyingly, I've also got a Makita mains drill. But as it turns out, I got that out to use that and that's broken too. Haven't used it for years, so I don't know what's wrong with it. Anyway, very frustrating. It's frustrating when you commit to a battery, you commit to a brand and you've committed to the batteries, which is really where the cost is, and you're in this sort of situation. To be fair, all the other DeWalt stuff's been great. It's just the electric screwdriver. Right, so I'm going to cut these off, cut these off with a cutting disc and see what I can do with them.
Once the strips have been ground off, we can start to weld them to the frame to stop it from flexing.
I'm going to turn this so that's on the floor. But I'm going to try and do it without distorting it too much.
Yeah. Don't panic, I'm actually videoing this whilst my eyes are closed with my hand over my face to doubly make sure I don't get arc eye. cuts a length of wood for the top of the shed and we screw it into place on one side to allow for runoff on the roof.
We know it's only small, but we've only got the five sheep. Before we had them outside. So this is reasonably sturdy. We bought some, we're recycling some tin for the sides. So I think next step is to get that fitted.
Sorry.
We didn't have enough of this metal to do the roof and the side, so we picked up a couple of sheets of this very nice faded olive. We'll leave the over for the roof, we'll leave the overhang on the front. We're going to put a gutter on the back to collect the water. One end is going to have a couple of wheels on. They came from the scrap recycling place as well, so that we can lift it and either tie it on the back of the tractor or the gator or something, so that we can move it around easily. I've got some 4x2 to make something to mount the wheels to, so a sort of an axle to mount the wheels to, but I'm going to put that on the outside. These turned out to be a bargain. They were completely rusty. All I've done is put air in them and they hold air, and I've just been soaking them in ATF, and now they're a bit grumbly, the bearings, but for what we're going to do, they're fine. So
And they cost us what, $5 or something stupid?
oh, nothing. They cost us, I think, for the roof and the wheels, and I bought a
Star post
driver, a heavy one, which was good. And I actually also bought a firefighting backpack, which is just a water tank with a pump on it, a hand pump on it. That's $50. So not only is it a bargain, it's also stopping it, I guess, from going to landfill. So it's a win-win. It probably cost us more for the well, it did. It cost us more for 2 lengths of 2x4. I don't really need 2 lengths, but just in case. And the bolts to use as axles for these.
Also, on the sides of the shed, because we've got self-shedding sheep, which is not easy to say, so they're Dorpers. But these aren't purebred Dorpers, I don't think, because they still have fleece attached to them. So we're going to strap some brushes on the side so that they can rub themselves against it. I had to try and find the most hardest brush you could get, and it was actually cheaper to buy hand brushes than it was to buy a broom brush head. You can't buy just the brush heads on their own, apparently. So it was actually, these were only $6, so that was a bargain. And the cheapest broom was $20, so it was cheaper to buy 2. So I'm going to put you on time lapse and you'll be able to see our progress.
I wasn't sure whether I was going to have to go that way or that way, depending on how we ended up doing this. But I'm going to have to go in there. But I couldn't get coach bolts. They're not coach bolts, they're nuts and bolts. I couldn't get coach bolts with a thread on the end. They don't do them big enough, or they don't do them big enough in Bunnings. So I need to drill a hole in there, and hopefully I can get that thread to take.
So whilst Andy sharpens his drill bit, so we bought an adapter. If I take it apart, this is the DeWalt battery that we use with the other tools. And here is the adapter. And this allows us to use our DeWalt batteries with other tools. This particular one. No, let's put it back on.
I can do that.
All that cost us was $30, as opposed to how much?
$250 for DeWalt electric screwdriver skin, and I bought 2. I'm not buying another one.
Or even just the batteries, aren't they? They're expensive. So even if we bought an AAG battery that we needed for that, that would have cost more than $30 too. So it's actually a bargain to buy it that way around. Just as we're making some good progress, it starts to rain and we have to move back inside to the garage. Now the sides are complete, we can add the roof. We had some blocks to the opposite side of the wheels to level out the shed, as it was a little too lopsided. So we can pull the shed from one paddock to the next, we add a handle. This is an upcycled bike part from a new Vespa. It works a treat and the shed is light enough for me to move on my own. Just the brushes to fit to the sides of the shed. And Andy upcycles this old garden trellis that we are going to fill with lucerne for the sheep to munch on. We use the tractor to pull the shed into the field where the sheep are currently grazing. So there's the sheep. They're not impressed. They're probably wondering, what on earth am I doing? Alright, so there it is. We've anchored it in because here it gets a bit windy in where we are. So we don't want it blowing away. But it's not bad. And it's just in time before the storm hits. we're not meant to have any rain until Saturday. It's Thursday today, aren't we? I have no idea what day of the week. But yeah, the rain's coming early. And so our plan is we're going to run a gutter along the back, but we didn't find a big long enough pipe to fit on the back. So we'll have a gutter on the back and then a pipe going down the side, one of the sides, and it will go straight into their water butt. That is the plan. They don't seem to drink an awful lot. They get most of their water from the grass, really. So that it's not going to be a problem. So I reckon it will fill up in a minute when it rains. The question is going to be whether they'll actually use it or not. That's the thing.
It's out of the wind.
Yeah, I bet it is. Be cosy. I bet they won't use it though, but never mind.
Well, they can though.
Yeah, it's there if they have the option, if they wanted to. But our sheep are stubborn, so they'll probably say no. It has non-stopped raining since we made this tractor, and the sheep have not used it once. But never mind. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share. And until next time.